Hey guys, how are we doing? Back on another video from Totally Not Mark, and we've got part 3 of his Dragon Ball Super review. And I think this is going to be interesting, because I personally really liked this arc, but I get why people don't. Because as soon as you start trying to do time travel, things start to not make sense. A lot of this don't make sense. Travelling forward in time, using a ring to trap you there, and then going back, and then all this, that, and the other. It was all over the place, but I really liked this. I thought this arc was a lot of fun. I feel like this is just going to get ripped apart in this. You know when you like something, but you know you shouldn't? That was the Goku Black arc for me. I was just like, oh, it's an evil Goku. Oh, it's the other. Oh my god, I don't care about all the stuff that doesn't make sense. But when it comes down to actually looking into it properly, I feel like this is totally not much. Just gonna rip this apart. Let's get into it. This is Dragon Ball Super Review, Part 3, the Goku Black arc.
Dragon Ball Super's Goku Black arc. It doesn't make any sense. Announce
I know.
or whatever your preferred unit of measurement is, and I emphasize this because this arc broke my brain. Now, I'm not going to lie to you guys. This week's video, it's going to be a tough one. This is going to test our relationship more than that one episode of Dragon Ball Super where Barry Kahn tries to convince Videl that her good boy Gohan was cheating on her with actual photographic evidence. And yes, that actually happens, but more importantly,
that was terrible.
I need you
That was a
guys
terrible
to be
episode.
on this one. During this video, I might say some things that you might disagree with, but through all of this, I will try to explain myself as best I can.
Okay.
I love you. I need you to look at this picture of me kissing Goku Black and understand that I'm doing this not because I want to. God, no. No, I'm kissing Goku Black because I have to.
There we go.
For us. I'm doing this for us. Now, at this point, I'm aware that this is starting to look like I'm stalling, like I don't want to start this video, and that's because you're right. While I do remember enjoying this arc of the show, I'm also keenly aware that it doesn't make a single ounce of sense.
There we go.
I fear
Right,
that my
I'm the
second
same.
trip around the block might tip me over the edge. But again, I do this for us.
Yes.
So, I'm
Okay,
Mark,
cool.
and this
So we're
is
on the
my
same
review for
wavelength,
Dragon
kind
Ball
of.
Super's Goku Black arc. Oh, hold on. I'm going to quickly mention this before I start my main review. There were a number of filler episodes that took place between this arc and the last. 5 episodes in total to be exact. They don't really connect anything.
When Barris is in the costume and fighting Goku and oh, the Raleigh
You're going to
episode.
ask my opinion on them. Here it is super fast. Episode 42. Totally fine, somewhat fun episode where we get a rematch between Goku and Beerus. Sort of.
Yeah, kind of.
Some slice of life, harmless fun to help unwind after the tournament.
Yeah.
Nothing major. Episode 43. This is a really weird episode
With
that
Pan, yeah,
introduces what I thought was, at the time, a new mechanic. Goku losing control of his ki due to his use of Super Saiyan Blue in tandem with the Kaioken technique. But it turned out to be a once-off, never again having consequence in the rest of the series to date, despite
Vegeta's like,
Goku
get up!
using that exact same tandem technique a number of times thereafter.
Oh well.
Episodes 44, 45, and 46. This filler arc is something that I thought could have been quite good, actually, but
Didn't
was
pull
only
it off.
okay, really, at the end of the day.
With the
first
clone
episode is
of
largely
Vegeta
set up
or not.
and boring. The second episode is interesting, getting to see Vegeta deal with the loss of his power, and the third is a really underwhelming rematch of the Goku versus Vegeta fight. Overall, I thought these were mostly boring and nothing to write home
Yeah,
about.
a bit weird.
Okay, it's time for Black.
Let's do it.
Black, y'all, and I'm black, y'all, and I'm blacker than black, and I'm black, y'all.
Oh yeah.
And I'm blickety black, blacker than black, I'm blacker than black, yo, because I'm black, and I'm...
Episode 47.
Boss,
This is
it
the
was
best
so
first
good.
episode to any arc of any Dragon
It
Ball
was so
anything I've ever seen,
cool.
ever. This might also be the
It was
single
so
most interesting and
dark.
compelling Dragon Ball villain introduction the show, once again, has ever
Yeah.
unveiled. At least to me. All
My
the
God,
parts
the
are
way
there, opening
it's
effectively
born,
and
just
fast
like that.
by setting the scene, establishing the hero and the current objective. Remaining undetected by a shadowy figure in the sky, Trunks' reality really can seem to catch a break here. And
Yeah.
it's not even 5 minutes in. Then his mom dies.
Bam.
Bye, Bulma. In a really tragic way, right in front of him before he's given the responsibility to flee to the past once again to search
Again.
for help. We then get introduced to Mai.
Oh, my!
Similar in age now to Trunks, their relationship is also
Was that from
given time to
Heroes?
breathe
That was from
as
Heroes,
they
wasn't
eat cat food.
Yummy.
Again showing how dire the situation is for their timeline. Once again, Trunks, this time with Mai, runs into the shadowy figure in the sky on their way back to the time machine. Mai is taken out, but not really. And finally, the shadowy figure is revealed. Okay, though, for real, when this episode first aired, literally everyone had that face
What?
unironically.
It was like,
Episode
what
48.
is
The best
going
parts of
on?
This episode are its beginning and end. Predominantly its beginning. Continuing on from the last episode in the future timeline, Trunks is still cornered by the looming threat of Goku Black, and so is forced into direct conflict. Once again, this is a great continuation from the previous episode, keeping the tone and the drama intact.
Yeah.
Trunks manages to distract Goku Black long enough to peace out from that timeline and land himself into the present main timeline we are familiar with, leaving GB all kinds of confused. Some stuff with Trunks and Goten in school takes place, future Trunks arrives causing everyone to wig out and everyone dashes to the rescue. He's zapped of energy and out cold. Goku gets some senzu beans, Korn and Yajirobe are playing Limbo, and Trunks wakes up. Next. Episode 49. Okay, so this fight, it doesn't actually happen.
Yeah.
Unless you mean this fight, that's totally unrelated and happens like 10 minutes later, in which case, yes, that absolutely happens. Trunks is brought up to speed. He even explains how he dealt with Majin Buu, which is a nice touch, I think, before going on to explain the whole evil Goku sitch his timeline has been dealing with. How almost all of humanity has been destroyed and that they're in a pretty desperate situation.
The manga touches on that more as well, doesn't it?
Beerus and Whis are none too happy about this time manipulation, which honestly doesn't tell me anything other than that the writers needed a way for Beerus and Whis to not get involved with Trunks' timeline, which,
we don't
again, if I'm being perfectly honest, is probably the most straightforward thing they did during this arc. Oh, and Goku Black discovers that Trunks escaped to another time before following him and showing up at the end of this episode in the present.
Oh my god.
Yep. Episode 50. I really like this episode.
Oh, it's so good.
It's so pretty.
Yeah.
This episode is supervised by Yuichi Karasawa, and I just think it looks pretty, okay?
Yeah, man.
Like most things, I have my issues with it. I'll get all the bad out of the way first.
Okay.
It's clear that the writers didn't put a ton of care into getting Goku and Goku Black into the same space for their first encounter. It's explained that Goku Black followed the tear in time Trunks' time machine left behind, and I'm like, okay. But then he gets pulled back in time because the tear is closing or something. Like, what? Look, just say it. You wanted Goku and Goku Black to fight, and this was the only way you could make it work while also keeping them apart. But whatever. Aside from that, the fight between Goku Black and Goku has some seriously polished and crisp artwork.
Yeah, man, it looks so
some
cool.
Really interesting and fun fight choreography. It also stands in direct contrast with the rest of the arc, which, spoiler alert, is completely shrouded in darkness like 90% of the time. Before piecing out, Black destroys Trunks' time machine for some reason. I thought he wanted Trunks to be destroyed. Why would he get rid of his only way back to the future? To be fair, that is a minor nitpick, and maybe Black made a last-minute decision. Not a big deal. Thankfully, though, once everything calms down, Bulma reveals that she kept the
glowing over and showing Goku's
during the Cell Saga.
That was cool.
That's a really cool throwback.
That was really cool. That was really boss.
Does a fantastic job at linking the past with the present of Super. In fact, I'd go as far as to say that it's the best callback to the past so far, easily.
Brilliant, using Cell's
ever have even
time machine.
That. Episode 51. Mai is an older lady trapped inside a kid body, whose best friends are a dog and a small gremlin man. To me, her having a thing with Trunks is weird. And I can't shake that. Also, this episode is total filler and completely boring. Goku goes off to train in Kinkai's. Beerus and Whis are suspicious of the key given off by Goku Black, and the evil boy's plans are laid to bear. Next!
They just ponder over everything, don't they?
Another filler nothing episode that I found insanely boring, which is weird because the beginning of the arc did such a great job of sucking me in and getting the
couldn't keep
going.
that tension
Much like
going,
the last
could
episode,
they?
Bulma is still working on the time machine, repairing it. What follows, honestly, doesn't really impact anything. It could be removed and nothing would change. Trunks tracks down Gohan to meet up. They eat ice cream and have dinner. Gohan having ice cream before dinner? You bad boy. If you're a fan of Gohan and enjoy this interaction, I get it, but I personally found it to be a pointless distraction and very boring. When Trunks returns home from his day of debauchery with Dragon Ball's bad boy, he finds out that Beerus, Whis, and Goku are traveling to another universe to investigate the mysterious key of Goku Black.
This was so interesting.
Episode 53.
This was cool.
I actually really like this episode. It's mostly talking, but does have some action, a decent chunk of comedy with stupid Super Goku, but more importantly, deals with, introduces, and establishes the foundational motivations for one of the most important characters in the arc, Zamasu, the individual next in line.
I'm staring at his Funko Pop right in front of me, it's so weird.
There's a nice exchange between Goasu, the current Supreme Kai of Universe 10, and his pupil Zamasu, who, upon entering
this
the
is cool because it gives us
presents
another
tea to
insight
his
into how the
Goasu
universes
explains that
work.
The tea is a reflection of his pure heart, and as a result will taste wonderful. With the focus on the teacup itself, Zamasu goes on to ask Goasu questions regarding mankind's deservedness of their watchful eye. This conflicted outlook in Zamasu's head also clouds the tea Goasu is drinking, and he notices this. I thought that was a really nice inclusion. There's a whole mess of stupid Super Goku being annoying that I'm choosing to ignore and skip because I hate it. The fight between Zamasu and Goku is actually interesting and fun, albeit short, facilitating an elegant way for Beerus and Whis to better understand who Black really is. Episode 54. There are a bunch of episodes that happen after after the initial story beats are ironed out that really feel like padding. Trunks chilling out, Mai and the Pilaf gang doing various things, and now more waiting around while Bulma adds the finishing touches to the time machine. Thankfully though, in this episode we finally get something at least a little bit interesting. We haven't really as of yet had a chance to see Vegeta and Trunks interact much since he returned, and so
this was cool.
If nothing else, this scene needed to take place. Vegeta spars with Trunks, testing his abilities, introducing Trunks to Super Saiyan Blue, and finally instilling within him the desire to always strive to be stronger. The episode itself ends proper as Zamasu's disillusionment arc continues to spiral out of control. His master Gowasu, seeing this, decides to show Zamasu the time rings, how to use them, and decides to bring the Yonkai into the future of a particular race of mortals on planet Barbary. Episode 55. So the point Gowasu was trying to make for Zamasu on planet Barbary's future completely backfires and only reinforces the belief Zamasu already.
So I was right all along.
Now having seen his master shocked by the events that took place under his own control, Zamasu now has all the proof he needs to know that what he feels is in fact correct. He must enact his plan to eradicate humanity. On the other side of things, Zeno requests Goku to come over. He wants to be friends with him. Apparently,
and here we go, narrative.
Goku a button, and not just any button, a two-sided button that can bring Goku to Zeno or Zeno to Goku, depending on which side he presses. Beerus, naturally, is terrified at the idea of this for obvious reasons. The episode ends with Goku, Vegeta, and Trunks finally boarding the now finally repaired time machine and arriving in Trunks' future. However, upon arrival, they get attacked almost immediately by the Earth's remaining forces.
Of course they
Episode 56.
Hold your fire! This man isn't black!
One of them.
And who said Dragon Ball doesn't have social commentary? For
One
real,
of the
though,
worst
this episode is actually quite
mistakes.
good, and I really
Oh my
enjoyed
god.
it. It's the first time the characters from Goku's
terrible.
timeline get to see Trunks' affected future, and man, is it in a wreck. We follow future Mai as
Everything
she leads
is
the
screwed.
resistance against Goku Black before she leads Trunks, Goku, and Vegeta through the catacombs and subways they are forced to live in. So few people remain left alive, and she
Yajirobe's
blames
down
herself
there,
for
isn't he?
not being strong enough or enough to protect them all. Goku and everyone puts this insecurity to rest quickly, thankfully. These small character interactions felt very genuine and set the tone for the upcoming battles brilliantly. This is what Trunks is fighting for. The little children, soldiers, and families all living in squalor and fear underneath the streets of their destroyed and tortured world. Vegeta feels confident and ready, leading him to challenge Goku Black right away. Black arrives on the scene, they fight, leading to Black revealing his ace in the hole. Super Saiyan Rose appears and Vegeta is taken out immediately.
God, so
because of course he
cool.
is. I guess someone has to act as the sacrificial lamb to create the cliffhanger for this episode. Episode 57. This episode is mostly action. Whether that's a good or a bad thing, I guess we'll find out. On a visual front, first and foremost, the episode contains some of the best animated scenes Dragon Ball Super has delivered so far. Supplied by Naotoshi Shida, a fantastic action animator famous at this point for working on the original Dragon Ball Z anime and for supplying that awesome cloud fight sequence between Goku and Beerus in the Battle of Gods movie.
Oh, right.
No, this will not be the last time we see his work in Dragon Ball Super or even this arc, so get hyped for that.
Sweet.
But even taking that shortcut, he
This
supplied
fight was
out
so
the artwork
cool.
direction and in parts animation within this episode are largely far above the series average, which is honestly a great sign. From a story point of view, this is where things start getting really silly though. While Goku being able to keep up with Black is somewhat believable, Trunks doing so is most certainly not. Someone who was being schooled by Black in his base state while he was in Super Saiyan form should not be able to do what he's doing
don't try and scale it now.
against the super-powered Super Saiyan Rose Goku Black. It's ridiculous and makes zero sense even with his little rage boost, which I wonder how many more of those we're going to get. They get defeated by Black and Zamasu, but thankfully are rescued by Yajirobe and Mai, sending them back to the past in a beaten heap. I guess it's back to the drawing board.
Let's start again.
Also, I should say that in the last episode I made, I said that Zuno wasn't ever used again. I was actually completely wrong. My bad. I still think it's a dumb idea.
Yeah, I said that, didn't I?
Than there needs to be, but at least he wasn't a
asked him for things. I pointed that out.
God. All that he needs to know about the Super Dragon Balls, and we cut back to the house where we see more stupid Super Goku. He forgot to bring the sensu beans that they prepared. Wait, what? He forgot? Yeah, you know, he
just
forgot.
Casually forgot.
Because Goku's stupid. While Goku kind of forgot about the Iron Fleet and Euron's forces, I mean, Sensu Beans and Black's forces, I sit back in my chair, cringing. Again, another moment where the writing staff had no idea how to create a scene without compromising either logic or character. Could you imagine the Goku who prepared for the androids making this mistake? The answer?
No.
Episode 59. So in this episode, Beerus, Whis, Shin, and Goku Goku, because he needs to be in almost every episode for some reason, arrive in Universe 10 to try to figure out if Zamasu is in fact sinister. They can't exactly reprimand him just
Oh
yet,
man,
as
time travel, more time
he hasn't done
travel.
anything too wrong yet, and so they need to test him for proof. And they do pretty much just that. Zamasu does the do on Goasu, Reese rewinds time, and Beerus Hakai's him out of existence.
Yep,
It's a cool
bye.
scene, punctuated beautifully by the score, but there's not much to it in the way of narrative structure. It's just cool to finally see Beerus actually do something. Also, Beerus is convinced that this will fix all the timelines despite everyone knowing that that's not how time travel works in Dragon Ball. Other than that, in this episode, Trunks has a pep talk with Trunks, so that's weird, albeit sort of cute. Episode 60. So, the gang decided to go back to the future to see if the timeline has been
Let's go
miraculously
again.
fixed thanks to Beerus. Can I just ask, why are they going back? Nothing about them is different here. They are just as strong and unprepared as they were
last
before,
time,
only
yeah.
this time they have sensu beans? They were completely outmatched last time. This is one of those moments in the anime that I think works far better in the manga. Now, I intentionally haven't mentioned the manga because I wanted to focus on the anime here primarily, but for the sake of this point, I'll use it as reference.
Okay.
In the anime, they go to the future 3 times. In the manga, they go just twice.
All right.
Once they fail, they regroup and prepare as best they can before returning finally for the last time. They didn't do this in the anime until the 3rd time for some reason. Fool me once, shame on you. So, they go back to the future, and just when I thought they couldn't make Goku's character any weirder, they decide that he needed to have this bit of exposition.
Oh god, this was so strange. It's like you've never kissed anyone. This was weird, why?
Like, he has 2 sons?
Yeah.
Think about that. How creepy is that? Well, thankfully, B and Z
So-
show up to save this awkward scene, and Vegeta finally attacks. Episode 61. So it's revealed that Zamasu is immortal, finally, and that Goku Black took out Goku already in a different timeline. I'm not going to try to make sense of this tiny,
Don't.
whiny stuff
Don't.
right now, because
Don't
it
try and make
doesn't
sense.
actually make
No.
any sense if you really think about
No.
it, and I value what's left of my
But
sanity
it's-
right now. We see Zamasu and
It was
Goku Black
fun.
hug for a little too long, but, you know, name a more iconic couple. Jennifer Aniston and Brad Pitt, eat your heart out.
This was
Introduce
weird when they're
Goku
hugging
Black
each other, like, all
disposes of his
emotionally,
family
like,
and
oh, what are they
which
doing?
leads to Goku getting
They're gonna make
all
out.
sorts of mad. Now, don't get me wrong, it is a cool scene, but it's difficult for me to understand why he wouldn't be just as upset like that over Bulma dying. I guess because he has to have those hilarious scenes where he acts like an idiot around Zamasu, maybe. What would Dragon Ball Super do without that? Goku Black pulls a weird new move out of his butt. Discovers new depths to his power and takes Goku out once again.
Yeah, the
Black
weird
starts
weapon things he
posturing
does was
and
like,
gloating and
what?
making all sorts of evil noises as Trunks looks on, leading to Trunks receiving his second unreasonable power boost of the arc. At least this time it looks cool.
It does look
Episode
cool.
62. Okay, it doesn't look cool anymore.
Oh, no.
It looks awful.
It's been
Make
taken
it
away.
stop. Please make it stop. Okay, so get this. Trunks, on his own, holds off a super-powered Goku Black and an immortal Zamasu, while Goku and Vegeta both escape back to the past for a second time. Goku literally starts laughing about how he punched himself to Chi-Chi, and Vegeta flies off to better himself before the next fight like he should have done.
But Trunks is gonna be in trouble.
And actually, okay, Goku heads over to Master Roshi's to learn the Mafuba, which, if I'm being completely honest, is an ingenious way of dealing with an immortal villain that I
Well, yeah,
personally had forgotten
makes sense,
about.
yeah.
Episode 63.
That was a nice
Meanwhile,
throwback.
In the future, Mai decides that the best course of
To
action
try and
that she
snipe
should
him.
take is to shoot Goku Black. With a gun. Yep, well, that didn't work. And oh look,
shock
another
horror.
unrealistic fight scene showing Trunks acting way more powerful
Than he actually should be,
if
yeah,
the story
yeah.
actually made sense. But at least it looks pretty. As soon as Vegeta, Bulma, and Goku arrive back in the future to help Trunks, Black destroys the time machine immediately. Which is honestly a good idea. Okay, look, there's been silly moments in this show so far, but they have a good plan right now with the Mafuba, and there's time to deliver a great third act. So, fingers crossed, let's do this. Goku and Vegeta start fighting Black
Here
and
we
Zamasu.
go.
Vegeta just wrecks Black.
Oh my god, he
It's
goes for
really
it, it's so cool.
Satisfying because you know how much it means for Vegeta to take revenge on the guy that defeated him personally,
Yep.
and who ruined his son's life. It's a great scene with some classic Vegeta one-liners. Episode 64. Vegeta continues to school on Black
Yep.
until Black learns that Saiyans get their power through anger and
Zenkai
then stabs
boosts.
his own hand to turn his energy sword into a scythe. Just in case the Grim Reaper metaphor wasn't lost in any of us. It's at this point Goku
It makes
Black
perfect
turns
sense.
into a ridiculous character, crapping out new techniques without he even knowing what the hell is
Yeah,
going on.
I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm doing
it's
it.
really silly.
Ruto with the clothes.
And captures
That's
Zamasu
amazing.
perfectly. It turns out that Goku, once again, kind of forgot.
The seal.
Fleet and Euron's forces.
He forgot the damn seal
Yeah.
yeah. about to actually work. I hate this arc. This was a great way for the story to dispose of an immortal character, and now it goes right down the toilet.
Yep.
I guess it's time to go full marketing dummy mode now. Fusion has joined the chat. Episode 65. Now, do you remember how much more powerful Vegeta was than Goku and Vegeta separately?
Yep.
Well, I do. And there's no earthly or godly way that Fuse Zamasu should have any problem dispensing of either Goku, Vegeta, or Trunks, even if they teamed up.
No.
But whatever, cool fight scene's gotta happen, I guess, and they don't know how to do that while making sense. There's a neat father-son Gallic gun scene.
That was
that's
cool.
Okay, despite it not making any sense how they're holding Zamasu back. But that pales in comparison to how Goku alone holds his blast back. Power scaling matters. This is just confusing and weird.
Yep.
Episode 66. This is the big action episode, and it feels like that in every.
Oh my god, this was so
sense of the
cool.
word. From the pacing
I have that
to the
Funko Pop as well
tension
that
to
makes
the
Zamasu
set
being
piece,
all
and even
weirded
to the
out.
sense of desperation that builds up towards the end. I don't think I even need to go over what happens in this episode. You've all already seen it. It looks visually very impressive and has some really nice ideas for techniques too, like the final Kamehameha. Just a tasteful bit of fan service with that one. But one aspect a lot of people seem to dislike about this episode was how they handled the diffusion of the two main characters, Goku and Vegeta. It's revealed in this episode that there is in fact a time limit for mortals
that
wearing
use
these
it, yeah.
earrings. This is my take on this scene. This is not a retcon. A retcon is a change to a previously established rule.
We hadn't established why they
Forever fusion
defused,
with
did
the
we?
earrings was once a rule, yes, but because Vegito defused in the Boo Saga without any explanation, the retcon doesn't happen in Super, it happens in the Boo Saga. The only thing Super did was offer an explanation.
An actual
for
explanation
that
for it,
defusion.
right,
So
okay.
stop being babies about it. I'm not defending this arc by any means, but I'm
But-
not going to criticize it over something it didn't do.
Yeah.
I'm genuinely trying to be fair here. The fight, as I said, was fantastic, but as I've explained, the two diffuse because tension needs to happen and Trunks hops in the final moments to make the save. I love how the corruption arc that Zamasu has gone on has manifested visually in his appearance.
It
the
does
choices
look
he's made,
cool,
having
man.
left his face and body grotesque and disfigured. He screams at Trunks both menacingly and uncomposed. It's a great position his character has ended up in against the virtuous hero of Trunks. And I can even make peace with Fuse Zamasu being weakened after his battle with Vegito, or with him being emotionally compromised enough for Trunks to make a difference here. Sort of, but then this happens.
The spirit sword.
So, Trunks can do the Spirit Bomb with his sword, despite never having learned the move, it never being foreshadowed,
Yes.
or it even
Yes.
being mentioned a single time within the entire story within the Black, Universe 6, Resurrection F, or Battle of Gods arcs.
What?
Okay.
This is so unbelievably done. Like, it looks cool, but
It does,
is
but it
a
doesn't make
massive
sense.
Deus Ex Machina. Coming out of thin air to facilitate an ending the writing staff or Akira Toriyama didn't plan for. It's a truly awful ending. Episode 67.
Oh god, here we
An
go.
arc that started with the best first episode I've ever seen now ends with the single worst ending I've ever seen.
It is
Literally
terrible, the ending,
Every
though.
single character except for Mai and Trunks from that timeline dies. Remember those soldiers? Dead. Remember Yajirobe and the other civilians? Dead. Remember those little children that started cheering for Trunks first, giving him the energy he needed to save the world? Well, they're super dead. And not even dead in the traditional Dragon Ball sense of the word where they effectively just go to a different part of the universe forever. Oh god, no. They are dead. Like, they don't even, nor can they ever, exist anymore. And why is this a problem? Well, because it makes the entire, and I mean
What was the point?
entire arc utterly, painfully, and irreversibly pointless.
Yeah.
So, Zamasu becomes the Sky because he's immortal, and that's what immortals do if they fuse with a mortal and get sliced in half, apparently. Goku has the bright idea then to smash the Xenomorph,
Oh,
and the
Zeno.
little guy literally erases the entire universe. So that's fun. Trunks then goes on to live with future Mai and future Trunks in a timeline where the events of Black never happened, living with themselves, and no one mentions why this is such an horrific existential nightmare. And the arc comes to a close. Everyone is weirdly happy, and Trunks leaves crying as he looks at Gohan, who played virtually no
Nothing
role
in
this
that
arc.
story at all.
What's happening? Okay, I've mentioned the story doesn't make sense numerous times during this video, and I understand that a lot of people can look past that because things look cool.
Yeah.
So why does something not making sense stop someone like me from enjoying something? Well, Take this for an example. Imagine you have two men fighting on a log floating on a giant lake. It's just a regular lake with nothing special about it. It's in the real world. Both can swim, and suddenly one kicks the other into the water. Suddenly, the man submerged in water, without warning, spontaneously catches fire and explodes. This would be a bad ending because it breaks the rules of how we understood that scene should work.
Right.
A story works the same way. If an ending breaks the established logic and rules put in place, it feels nonsensical, lazy, and idiotic. An example of a good piece of storytelling was seen in episode 53. It's believable that Beerus and Whis would recognize Black's ki from Zamasu's fight with Goku, as it is an established part of how powers in the show work. It also stands to reason Zamasu wouldn't be on the defensive because he would have no knowledge of the events as he hasn't become evil
He hasn't done it yet,
so that works. But this arc is filled with a lot of really, and I mean really, stupid choices for the story. Not because they were choices made by dumb people, far from it. Toei has shown that they can write compelling episodes time and again. What is abundantly clear to me, looking at the choices they have made, however, is that they are uncompromisingly focused on one thing above all else. Marketing. They are not concerned about telling a compelling, thought-provoking, or well-written story. First and foremost, they're concerned with what will get the audiences excited via trailer the most. Future Trunks does absolutely nothing in this except learn all the same lessons he did in the Cell Saga. In order to keep him relevant with the main cast and competent in the fight scenes, he gets one absurd power boost after another, climaxing in a finish that, while delivered in favor of the right person, and while appropriately visually striking, it is carried out utilizing a technique with no prior foreshadowing,
it's just out of nowhere.
Really. It comes out of nowhere because the writers had nothing established
How
for the
do we
character
beat
to carry
this
out his
person?
big finish. The original first Super Saiyan transformation with Goku on Namek against Frieza worked because it was foreshadowed. The same for Goku teleporting Cell away during the Cell games. The same for the Spirit Bomb against Vegeta. These were all satisfying finishes utilizing techniques that had been clearly established prior to their use in their respective climaxes. And if you don't believe me that marketing was the driving force for a lot of these decisions, Vegito, the fusion of Goku and Vegeta, is supposed to wear a combination of clothes Goku and Vegeta were currently wearing before they threw the old bling on their ears. But they ignore that in Super because that's what Vegito's toy is supposed to look like, and they can't change that. Goku Black and Zamasu's existence didn't make any sense within the established logic of the show. And I'm saying this now, the canon explanation is wrong. But to explain why, believe me, will require a long explanation because, believe it or not, it's stupidly complicated with so many moving parts. It's a wonder Toei were able to bluff their way through using it. Though it does explain why so many people don't notice that it doesn't make sense in the community. It's way too convoluted to even figure out completely. I fully intend on addressing and explaining why this particular canon explanation is wrong, but that will take an entire video, and trust me, this will be a long, entirely
That's going to be great.
Video. Also, the
That's going to be great.
Is, I think, the biggest slap in the face Dragon Ball has ever, to this date, delivered to its audience. Not only are there no consequences leading on from this arc, but the means with which they revert back to the status quo is insultingly lazy and disrespectful to the intelligence of the fans that diligently followed along week after week. In addition to all of this, scattered throughout are various sections of exposition and info delivered seemingly without any thought or care put into how it would affect the established world. Goku has never kissed Chi-Chi.
Yeah, that's
what?
weird.
Trunks can do a spirit bomb with his sword. What? Everyone dies and nothing matters and I'm sad now. What? And those are my thoughts on the Goku Black arc. It's mindless, but it is visually fun.
I liked it because it was fun.
I'm sure there's plenty to enjoy. I just happen to really not like it.
That's fair enough.
If you enjoy this series, subscribe and hit that notification bell if you want the subscription to work, and leave a like if you enjoyed. But until next week, I've been Totally Not Mark. Thank you so much for watching.
Cool. Yeah, I kind of thought that's what the video would be kind of like. I get why it's bad, but I really enjoyed it. The ending was abysmal though. Yeah, I'll give him that. The ending was absolutely abysmal. So yeah, cool. I hope he does that video on why it doesn't make sense. That would be great. That would be so funny. But until then, thank you guys very much for watching. What do you guys think of that? What do you guys think of this? Click like, subscribe if you haven't already, leave comments down below, let me know what I should watch and discuss in future videos. And I'll see you guys next time.